Sleep doesn't want to grace me with its presence. Or at least not yet. Maybe I should go for a 4-mile run and then sleep. Perhaps that would be a workable idea. Being that Tiffany has now bowed out and bid adieu, no, that has no relevance. I mean, that has no relevance to whether or not I speak about this. This is just, I can't sleep, and why not? Some curious onlookers seem to be flabbergasted, flummoxed by the fact that her and I could randomly run into each other in the city when she's never been here and I wasn't expecting her. So there's a window of believability that all the things that we experience fall within. And if we encounter something that's not in here, and it's like somewhere over there, or like up here somewhere, then Mr. Brain says, Mm-mm. No. That's what Mr. Brain does. Now, this is important for everybody because once Mr. Brain has done that, or Mrs. Brain, depending on if your brain gender identifies. So at that crucial point where Mr. or Mrs. Brain has said, there are options. The normal option, if it doesn't fit in here, is to take it and do this. Okay. Now it's in there. It's definitely in there now. It required some bending over backwards and some tying some squares into some circles and whatnot. But it's in here. Everything's okay. Okay. We're good. That's one option. That's the normal option. Another option. See these things? Like, see how they move? So another option is do this. Say that the event is up here, you know? Start here. First, come along a little bit like this. And then expand it. Oh, now I see. It's still in here. Okay, so I had to broaden these pole lines a bit, but now that event is now within here, so Mr. Brain is going to be okay with it. And he's not going to have a panic attack or throw a pitchfork or whatever else Mr. or Mrs. Brain would like to do in that kind of situation. That's just two options. I'm sure there are more. There's usually more than two options. There are usually more than two options. Mr. Brain would not necessarily condone of that idea, but it's my experience that there are usually more than one, usually more than two, usually more than three, and so on, depending on how flexible Mr. Brain is. So people took it in various ways. A lot of people were like, "Whoa, that's amazing! It's basically a miracle, and it looks like you guys had a good time together. So awesome, cool. Let's use this as a catalyst to allow more miraculous events into our lives." And for those people, they opened up a bit, maybe, and perhaps synchronized a bit more with their lives, and so on and so forth. And then that's this. And then other people who didn't do this did their kind of thing. And now we have this wonderful story coming out of that Uber, the monolith, the big dark beast of ride sharing, worth billions of dollars, Uber, has tracked me, notified Tiffany of said tracking, and also coordinated with her to get her to that particular intersection outside of me having the app on. So it's not even like they could project where I was going to be going, because the app wasn't on at that time. So Uber has tracked me, notified Tiffany, arranged that the meetup would happen, and it happened because of Uber. Or it happened because of dark backroom shenanigans involving Tiffany and I. And Uber is just a important tool that was used to help facilitate this meeting. Not even just a person within Uber. Uber did this somehow. And that's great. I mean, that's creative. That's really good. It's not super believable. I would put forth that perhaps the Uber story is less believable than us just randomly running into each other. But that's just me. I don't know. As well, these people who have put together this marvelous story of Uber setting this meeting up or facilitating it are also saying that I'm not being forthcoming, or I'm not being honest about how that event or meeting happened. And so the first step was he's not being honest about it. He's not telling us what happened. So what I said about we just met randomly, so that not fitting. And the next step is to make it fit. And now Uber is involved. And now there's also a justification for the accusation of the fact that I'm not being honest about what happened. So all the pieces now have crunched themselves into their proper square peg in round hole status. And everything is good. Of course, me personally, I think both of them are lovely stories. I personally like the one better where we just randomly met up, magically and synchronistically. The Uber one is that's more going in line with, 1984 style dystopian future stuff, where Big Brother's spying on you and whatnot. But Uber asks permission whether to track you. It's right in the iPhone. They ask permission whether to track you when the app is on or off. They have to track you when it's on. Otherwise, their customers don't get where they're supposed to be. Because most of the Uber drivers don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're from out of town like me. But I do know what I'm doing because I've been here for a long time. I've been here for a long time. That's an understatement, folks. That's an understatement. I've been here for a while. So for me to have been honest in second scenario, where Uber's arranging things, I would have basically had to spill the beans that I knew Uber was arranging it. And then I would have to come forth with proofs, names, evidence, none of which I'm good at, especially not with the proof part or the facts. Not my strong suit. But I would say overall, it was good. It was a good show and tell, psychological tell. And like I said before, I'm grateful that happened. 100%. Whether it happened magically and synchronistically and 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds, like on the surface it appears to happen. Even Tiffany herself said this is not. She said it like in the first video we made together. I was saying something like, what are the odds? And she's like, oh, this is no mistake or something like that. Like, she said it. She has her own interpretation of what she meant by that. I could say the same thing, it was no mistake. But in a second breath, I'll say not one thing that happens in the realm is a mistake. We're not privy to all of the gears, but this is not news. So regardless of how it happened, whether God himself organized that, or for you people who like to go to the other half of that dichotomy, whether Satan arranged it, or the demi, as Tiffany likes to call it. I'm thankful for it. I thoroughly enjoyed that day. We hung out the whole day. I took her to all the places in San Francisco that I enjoy. Moraga Steps, I took her to Glen Park. We hiked around in the woods. Took her to Trader Joe's. We got some food. We went out and sat in the park. I took her up to a high point, not Twin Peaks, but a high point where you get this 360 view of everything. And then I brought her to the airport. Gave her a hug. Said thank you. And that was that. It was good. What more could I ask for in that experience? If I were to ask for anything else, I'd be getting greedy. And I know that people are coming at this from different perspectives, and I know that people are at different levels of suffering or having been through suffering, and this is going to skew their understanding or level of suspicion surrounding events like this. So I understand it. I'm not sitting here saying that those who believe Uber was involved, not shitting on you guys. I think it's great. I love the creativity. But from my perspective and from my own experience, it's not that creative. It just happened. So anyway, maybe now I can sleep. Perhaps. Maybe not. Good night.